Tonight, we're heading back into the neon-tinged corridors of mid-90s Tokyo, where the streets aren't just roads, they're battlegrounds. This is Tokyo Highway Battle on the original PlayStation, a title that slipped under the radar in the West but lives on as a cult classic among underground racing fans. So, fasten your seatbelt because this isn't just a review, this is a midnight ride through a forgotten chapter in racing game history. Let's rewind the clock to 1996. The PlayStation was booming and 3D gaming was still in its early, awkward teenage years, jagged edges, flat textures, and that wonderful low-res charm we now call retro. In Japan, a studio named Genki, known mostly for lesser-known arcade ports and fighting games, dropped a racer called Shutokou Battle Drift King. It was inspired by the real Shutokou, the Shuto Expressway system in Tokyo, infamous for being the playground of illegal high-speed racers. What's fascinating is that this was before Fast and Furious and before Need for Speed took us to underground drag scenes. Tokyo Highway Battle, as it was localized in the West, was one of the first console games to dramatize Japanese highway racing culture. And honestly, it nailed the aesthetic long before anyone else figured out how. Gameplay-wise, the game doesn't bother with a full roster of racers on a track. Instead, it goes for a duel system, you versus one opponent, at night, on a stretch of real-world Tokyo highway. Your goal? Drain your opponent's SP bar, basically a stamina meter, by keeping the pressure on, taking the lead, or forcing them to make mistakes. It's simple. No turbo boosts, no weapons, no open-world sandbox. But that simplicity is what makes it tense. You're not in a race, you're in a one-on-one mind game. It's like chess. And look, is the driving tight? No, not exactly. It's stiff, it's twitchy, and collisions feel like two cardboard boxes slapping each other. But if you accept the game on its own terms, it becomes something else entirely. A moody, meditative battle on endless stretches of asphalt, framed in flickering headlight glare. Tokyo Highway Battle doesn't just capture a moment in time, it also captures a cultural flashpoint that has since become a global phenomenon. The thrill, the danger, and the freedom of underground street racing. So despite its quirks and shortcomings, the game is more than a relic. It's a time capsule, a gritty slice of racing culture, and a fascinating footnote in gaming history. Let's address the elephant in the room. If you were coming off Gran Turismo in 1998, Tokyo Highway Battle would have felt bare bones. GT had real car physics, real-world tracks, and a customization system deeper than most RPGs. Meanwhile, Tokyo Highway Battle gave you a handful of cars, a mysterious spirit point system, and racing routes that all kind of looked the same. Mostly tunnels and sharp corners. But again, this is the trade-off. Realism versus vibe. And Tokyo Highway Battle isn't trying to simulate, it's trying to evoke. This is dreamlike driving. Let's talk aesthetics. Objectively, it's rough. But subjectively, it's perfect for what it's doing. You've got washed-out textures, low draw distance, traffic that seems to spawn out of thin air, but somehow it works. The lights of Tokyo blur past you. Your taillights flicker on dark asphalt. The soundtrack, which features a mix of synth rock and ambient jazz, fills the space between engine growls with just enough anxiety to make each race feel urgent. There's no narrator yelling, "You're in the lead," no radio stations with quirky DJs, just you, your engine, and the void. And in a modern context, in an era where we chase ray tracing, hyper-realism, and perfect physics. There's something beautiful about that raw simplicity. So here's the thing, in 2025, we're spoiled for racing games. We've got Forza Horizon 6 simulating weather systems with satellite data. Gran Turismo 8 is practically a driving school simulator. CarX Drift Racing Online has physics so detailed, people use it to train for real drifting. So what's the value in playing Tokyo Highway Battle today? Nostalgia? Sure. Historical curiosity? Absolutely. But more than that, it represents a different vision of racing. A vision that wasn't about being the fastest or most realistic, but about capturing the emotional core of racing on city streets at night. This game feels like Tokyo in the 90s. It's got that VHS haze and that Dreamcast energy. And in a gaming culture increasingly obsessed with polish and performance, Tokyo Highway Battle reminds us that atmosphere matters. If you've played Tokyo Xtreme Racer on the Dreamcast or PS2, this game was its direct predecessor. Genki would go on to refine this format and evolve it into one of the most beloved niche racing series of the early 2000s. So if you're revisiting this now, you're seeing the DNA of a series that helped shape how Japanese car culture was presented to Western gamers, years before Need for Speed or Burnout caught on to the vibe. And honestly, it deserves way more credit for that. If you're looking for tight mechanics, deep car customization, or hyper-real graphics, this isn't your game. But if you're in it for the vibe, the history, and the pure, unfiltered feeling of tearing through the expressways of Tokyo in a pixelated midnight duel, then this one is perfect. Thanks for watching.